All right, my first question is this. What was Jin's life before being arrested, before joining the rebellion? What was her upbringing as a teenager like?
That's interesting. I spent a lot of time thinking about that, trying to fill in the gaps. Well, she's definitely been alone for a lot of it. She's a bit like, she's a bit of a child delinquent. She has grown up without her parents. She's had to survive. She's had to survive on her own a lot of the time. She has a mentor in Saul Guerrera, who you will have seen in the opening of the film, and he's someone who's very much been her guidance, her kind of spiritual and emotional guidance. But even within that, she's kind of had to learn about life as she goes along. She's had to really be quite defensive in a way. I think there's been a lot of struggle.
Well, it's funny you say that. With that in mind, and knowing that like she seems like a natural rebel fighter, and in a way she's also trying to redeem her father in this story, that to me draws comparisons to Luke Skywalker, obviously. How would you compare Jin to Luke?
Oh, I mean, that was such a huge reference, Empire Strikes Back, particularly that scene, you know, where he's hanging on. It just makes me cry every time at the end of the film. But it's rooted in it's just very emotional. It's rooted in that parent-child dynamic, and particularly with Rogue One, it's the father-daughter relationship, which we haven't actually seen a lot of in cinema. But it's absolutely, it's an adventure, a quest to understand who you are and understand that relationship with your parents.
From when Gareth first pitched to you the character Jin and the whole story way back when, how much has the character's like arc or development like changed throughout the whole process? Because it's a very lengthy production, reshoots and everything else.
We very much stayed true to the core story, and Jin actually remained the same from the very beginning. She had there's a sort of that Jin's very perceptive. She kind of has an animal awareness. She's quite instinctive. She acts on her feelings. She knows it's when she's meeting the team and meeting the other rebels, she kind of instinctively, she's like, I get you. I like you and I get you and you can be on the team. So she actually stayed pretty consistent throughout everything.
What would you say makes Rogue One different or special compared to other Star Wars stories?
I think you're just going to be on such an adventure. It is. I mean, it's a film on a huge scale, but it's also a film rooted in just a genuine, simple story. Now
that you're in this massive franchise that's could go on forever, is there anything you're personally excited to see come next in future Star Wars movies or tales?
I'm actually really looking forward to all of them. I feel like there's such braveness in what they're doing, in that they're allowing each of these spin-off films to be completely different and to have its own identity and to trust the vision of a filmmaker. I think there's something kind of quite 70s and cool about it.
Yeah, I see. One more question from a reader of the site. They want to know if you could pick any sort of classic character you could share a scene with, who would you pick? If you could tell, for example, if there's another Star Wars movie and you could share a scene with anyone.
I was going to say Scarlett O'Hara, but that's in Star Wars. Maybe she could have been in Star Wars. That would have been cool. The 40s, the 1940s Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think actually Princess Leia. I think Carrie did such in probably quite politically quite difficult times to be making that film in terms of gender politics. I think she actually brought such kind of heft to Princess Leia.
Perfect. All right, thank you for your time.
Thanks.